Hi. So, do you actually really think that the reason somebody makes noise is for no reason? You know, I don't think you've ever met flyers and runners that break space. And I don't think you've ever understood that if you smash somebody's head on the coastlines and you have a replacement child, that you're not the terrorist. You are. The aim of the original 221 number was simple. The brother of the mother was the head of sciences at Warsaw University. So if he says to me that Polish sciences is fucking cheap ass, and that my Russian Mir is from Russia, and he's been head of sciences, and he's 96 in Poland, it tells me everything. If the cousin of the father is the same in Cairo and says the same about Egypt, and speaks about Saudi Arabian Mir, the reason they would have brought back Delft, which is a social security number from Hooker Graph City, would have been just that. It's not a question of boasting or about PhDs, it's a question of stupidity. Now, you know my mother was born in Piasecz and my father Noros, that's the Arctic Circle, something like that. At the age of, they were babies when they were there, babies. And they were already pioneer champions in sports. At a very young age, they had been trained, they were already in the World Cups. By the age of 10, 14, I think they won medals by the age of 13 or 14. And Fresno is famous for what it is around the world. So it's not a question of talking to me about the global zoo and stuff and why is it worse than revolutions for the parents. It's not a question of looking at the cement trucks for over 20 years in Rome or London or Warsaw Internationals or Brussels or Russia or Cairo or Egypt, of course, Saudi Arabia, or East Coast. It's not a question of looking at Nathalie Dirac with the hanging benches with the Supreme Court in Brussels defending the parents, and Laura Quintus in DC, because I was born with them there in Rome. I don't believe you. That's why there's agents that get me from point A to point B, even if I'm not an agent. I didn't connect the dots worldwide to globals for fun in 80 countries. If you want to stick in the stupid US, then you have 81 countries. And why I say stupid? Because you lost that fucking shit on the coastline. You know when they were speaking about the proverbial share? It's not that the Opus Dei and the Vatican blessed me, or the Brits, or the Inner Circle of Martin Snowden, or German Aerospace naming their children Jamila. Why? Because it's an obituary, you bitches. They genetically grafted me. I am not that girl. You smashed my head on the coastlines. I'm a replacement child. You do not have to go after Disneyland and destroy me. You want to do it? Why? For fun? The fun kill? What the fuck did you lose on the coastlines with the Hague of Dirk and Van Damme and the lowlands of Delft? What the fuck did you lose in space technology, the buildings in Massachusetts and DC? That's all news on the news. And because it's all news on the news, the nails in those 80 countries, 81 countries in the US, you're saying it's all news on the news. Of course I had free education. I was too busy flying and running. Now I'm fucking crawlies. You're just a bunch of fucking cowardly bitches with no fucking brains to rub together. The reason it's empty and the reason they would have brought me back is because there was a ship to yacht. And no amount of your fucking PhDs are going to change the phenomena that you fucking lost on the coastlines. That's your fucking old news on the news. You can stick your PhDs, you know where, right up your... And stop using vitriolic languages towards me, because I'm already 50 years old. I don't like the Mossad. Okay, I don't like fanatics. I don't like sick people. And you can make Disney sick with the psychopaths. But on my crawlies and little crawlies out of Fresno, that I used to work on the coastlines, that's connected us worldwide to global, separate from the parents. You're the ones paying. I would go for Bin Laden before I go for the Mossad in Israel. Why? Because he's less of a problem, quite frankly, than the Mossad. You know, if you think the CIA is mentally retarded like you, and they bring out Disneyland just to see Mademoiselle Innocent, the reactions of your fucking psychos, you don't have a brain. Of course I did. You see, why do they bring back the dead from the coastlines? You could say desperate, or you could say Fresno is desperate. Or, you know, I thought desperation and the Bobby was on the coastlines. I did, with all the fucking blessings on the planet. But, you know, I'm not that girl. And so, you know, it's not that all of a sudden it's like, okay, she didn't have time for nothing. She's like, and then all of a sudden, mean, the horn was supposed to still be alive, not be a fart out. You know, but usually if you smash somebody's head on the coastlines, then you have a replacement child 221 Del. So we have The Hague, we have the Bureau de Veritas, and we have the Italian Federal Bundestag with Dr. Parrott against your psychos and shit in Fresno for me. In other words, your nurses who tried to break me down, your little boyfriends, and your shit in Fresno. You have more than suits. You can sit there and say, why is she back? Why is that shit empty? Because it was a ship to yacht, you fucking bitches. So when they say genetic grafting and that you look like a professor in Woolwich or you look like a professor at La Sapienza, which is empty buildings and space technology, I say to me, why I'm back in this format. After I show on the coastlines, I don't have to answer you that fucking bitch. I'm 50 years old. I've done so many crawlies out of prison. It's 10 years I'm out of that shithole. I've been to Moscow 5 times, DC, was it what? 3 months, New York, 1 week, London, 30 times, also internationals, with King Abbasi, with 4 PhDs in NASA. And he bought the Shemansky neighborhood. We have Rome, we have Cairo. You have lost every brain cell. I am not that girl. You understand? Send me your psychos. We'll not sue you. We'll do much more than sue you. We'll stick you back to federal prison and alive. Even if you're born in Fresno, because federal prison will learn no prison. And we'll bring your sorry ass to Frisco. So who's paying that shit? Who's paying for that? The FBI? The CIA? They don't care? You think they don't care? If you have that shit that's empty, and you have stupid people coming up to me and speaking to me about this and that, you had the intelligence before. How many times were the flyings? B owns the library in DC. Ballard, Quintus, and Nani direct defending. But how many times were the runnings? 92 and above, 85. And how many times were the crawlies at me? They're on retirements at Fresno. You terrorists. I don't give a shit. I hope the US loses intel. If you had met the Marie Curie of the 21st century, what you did? Lick her ass? And so what you did? Smash my head in on the coastlines and still play with a dead baby. You're not a fucking country. Keep your fucking empty buildings in Massachusetts. Keep your fucking empty buildings in Nassau. Keep your fucking empty cheap-ass buildings in New York with cancer and Poland. And in Cairo in the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods. That was pink. What about the grey and the black and the white? Well, that's empty too. Because you were like one pink, was she? Not the original one. Dumb fuck. What is she now? Multicolored rainbow? The end of the rainbow. The shit's empty on the coastlines. The Scotland film is playing. You were sidekick in that film when you're 7 years old. Just stay the fuck out of here, out of this country. I'm an American. American. You're not American. You are the problem of America. You are the idiot that PhD can't even open the pink shit. You are the idiot. You are the fucking retard. You are the terrorist. And as long as a 5-year-old can tell you that in 80 countries with a Scotland film, you'll be still sitting there and speaking about what beauties you are. They could have fucking cloned me, you fucking idiots. They spat you out there as a child to show to you who the fuck you are. Therefore, you're geniuses. Put them where they belong. Because if this girl had to come back this way with no teeth, with nails different, with her head smashed in on the coastline, forced to come back to the US. Yes, forced. And know perfectly well that she's not the original Jamila. You can have every blessing on the planet, US. You're Satan. This is your problem. You think you're perfect. You're not perfect. You can't even open one building of Jamila. July 20, 21st century, my birthday, is empty and has been ever. 80 countries know about it. You want to stick in the fucking US? Minus Ame, minus Rica. That's 81 countries. That's all news on the news, Danielle. Why do you think they brought me back in a blanket time like that? In the intelligence communities, 221 Delft, Holland. That number. Why? In Hoekesek, Graf City. Why? Why do you think all the intel knows this shit? There are people dying of cancer. There are people dying of advanced things. There are people dying of new mathematics and things that are empty. And you're sitting there dancing on my grave on the coastlines, and you're telling me that I'm a genetic replacement graft of that girl, a particular corn cob, and you still haven't figured that out, and you're still sending your cycles. You've lost the US on every fucking level. That's not even mentioning the parents in Fresno. So the parents are who? D1s? D1s? What's a D1? A directorate? For Austro, TCY, USA. You're gonna send me your fucking psycho. Do you know how much fucking suing we can do for your government just for that? Not just cash, you fucking retard. It was a ship to yacht and the bridges. I wasn't alone. You don't think that you're going to be flying and running on the coastlines and doing things around the world and telling, all of a sudden you have your head smashed in because you come back like this. Like a little phoenix. You are cowards and you are bitches. Go to college. Pay $100,000 to go to college, you fucking bitches. You're not going to reopen even one of my books. Forget about the pink-ass lowlands. That's the easy shit. That was the old news on the news. And you're still sending me fucking psychos. You're not even a fucking country. You don't speak about Coast Celeb. It has nothing to do with Coast Celebrity Doubts. 221. It has to do with what bitches are. And your boyfriends. And your psychos. You can break me down. I don't have psychosis. Not according to Dr. Parrott. Not according to UCLA. And not according to New York. And not according to London. And not according to Italy. Normal hospitals will see it for what it is. Fucking abuse. I've never seen such a bunch of assholes in my life. And that includes your girlfriend. No, shit. Then you wonder why you have problems in the US. This is why you have problems. Because you're not thinking. That's not even mentioning the parents. So they're the ones born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They're the ones who are D1s, also TCY USA. And they're the ones on retirements in Fresno. Okay. Keep your void. Do you know when I told you as a child that there was in Italy in high school where the president's kids were free between 13 and 14, by 15 the UK, college for free? Remember when I said that to you? Proverbial Vatican void. When Malagit they were saying that, the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods even. I've never seen anything like that. And you speak about wars here and Israel and the Jews. We know about the Jews. We know about Israel. You think we're fucking retards? You think the world was born yesterday in Europe? Or in Italy or in England? Spain or in Portugal or in Russia? Or the Eastern Bloc? Suck up to them? No. You think they like them? They like the Arabs better than them. You know why? Because the Arabs are normal. Even the Palestinian victims are probably more normal than the Israelis, which is a bunch of chosen people. Chosen and what? This guy was blessed. And you know what happened? Do you see how they behaved? I'm going to say it. You don't know what to choose. A holy sanctity or terrorist. You sick people. You sick. And when I say sick, you're sick. It's not a question you're going to feel good. And then the poorest of the poor seem to have a tendency to remember this shit around the capital cities and the Dar es Salaam neighbors. I'm not saying that all the poor are good, because many of them are in trouble with the law, but many are not. And therefore, in my opinion, you're not a country. If you start World War III, go ahead. But make sure to hit, a country like Israel. Hitler wasn't a good person, no. But he had also exterminated others in World War I and World War II. The Jews weren't the only victims. But the Jews have this insanity in them, that they're the only ones. Everyone has their own personal experiences, okay? Someone is a phenomenon, July 20th, 221, Social Security, has their head smashed in knuckle signs, comes back like this, a particular code. That's a personal experience. Just Ubermensch as relics. Nobody knows how that fucking happened. Maybe shipped to yacht, haulings around the world, or maybe the blood matters. Understanding, you fucking moron. After you smashed my head in on the coastlines. You never understood that concept, the concept of death. And once you lose that intel, you've lost it forever. With the ship, to the yacht, to the bridges. That's old news for 221 Delft. That's why they made a Coast Celeb out of this. Not because I'm her, because that shit's empty. Without her. Otherwise, and I said to you, it's my buildings, I wasn't fucking. As for the parents, I keep repeating, they're born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. The champions at an early age, the directorates, D1s, OSCRT is USAID, Humanitarian Relief Services. You know, you can fly, you can run, and you can cruise like me out of the coastlines, defending the barrens that many times. You could do that many times around. You're terrorists. There are people between the East Coast and the sea, in Langley, in New York, New England, London, 4 states in New England, London, Rome, Warsaw Internationals, Russia, and Arabia, who simply want to bomb Fresno. And quite frankly, you're such assholes in Fresno that you'll be lucky if you get a Havana 696969 space bomb. You'll be fucking lucky. Saying to me, you see, if somebody points out to you, you're a criminal, you've been in federal prison, keep your fucking ass away from me. You turn around and look at me and say, you got problems. And I look at them and say, yes, I do. But I'm not like you. I'm not American anymore. I don't want to be called American. Do you know why? This is why. Because of your people. Your intelligence at least had the decency to fall with me and have platinum hairs on the coastlines. So much for Holy Grail. Your intelligence showed the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Ali Direct, but nobody fucking trusted you. That's why there's the Scotland film. Because they know who the fuck the assholes are in Fresno. And you are cheap assholes. And your girlfriends are cheap assholes in Fresno. For both parents. And if you think somebody in the US is going to be flying or running that many times around the world, doing her shit and defending her parents, and then come back like a phoenix and be in a Scotland film to stay around for retirement, and then after that shit on the coastlines that happened to that girl, you're not a country. Everything's unusual. Then you're going to say, well, but it's because she's Russian interested. You lost intel. Intelligence look at what it lost, what it had, and what it lost. It doesn't look at anything else. It doesn't look at your fucking PhD that you stuffed up the piece of paper up your ass. It doesn't look at anything else. Okay? When they said ugly, when I say you don't like the J-Lo concept of the girl on the coastlines or the losses that happened and they shipped a yacht, that's all news on the news, the bridges. No one is playing around. You can go back to Disneyland at the age of 7 and speak to me about the Scotland film. But that's what you are. It's not a question that it's famous. It's beyond famous. Royalty doesn't get that much fame. On that many crawlies and little crawlies through the masses and the laptops and the cement trucks and everything else. And denying me on those lines because it gives you feeling of power because you're sick inside or you were jealous. That's your problem. The only thing I have in common with Jamila is her eyebrows. That's it. It's being about genetics. Because I had big eye, I had long face, eyes were big, nose was different, face was long, my nails were different. You think you're controlling that. You're not controlling the graft. You're not even controlling the blues of that girl. And as for the blue of my father and mother, it's not even blue. It's so light it looks like light gray. Light blue. And they still got the mother out, so there's still copper. But they got it from Fresno to Poland to Russia with the rule of law of Natalie Direct, defending both parents in the Supreme Court in Brussels. With a fake obituary from Fresno. Well, the father had an injection at the age of almost 76 in the lower part of his stomach. So you are behaving, you see, you latch onto things that you cannot help with. You latch onto other people. I can understand that with the poverty. I can understand that with people who have less. I can understand that even with psychos I can't understand for me. I can't understand that hate. I don't understand that level of hate for Disneyland replacement. I don't understand where the patriotism comes in. I just see bitches. And that's what I see in Fresno. And that's what the whole world saw in Fresno. So you could say criminals and you could say whatever, but the nursing homes, the hospital, Jennifer Segura and Sonia Rocha were prison guards for Tom and Jerry Darrett House, locally in the county jail, for 25 years before they became social services directors of Fresno. There goes Dr. Barrett. You've lost it. You already have The Hague. You already have the Bureau de Veritas of Tirkyan Bandam. You already have the void, the proverbial void. And you have a replacement child that you're trying to abuse. You have more paperwork for me. So the Roman Pink House Tribunal is a federal Bundestag of Europe telling you that you're a mentally retarded country with 250 pages of abuse, including stalkers and psychos. Heine, unfortunately, was Hell's Angels. He got involved. He even went to Poland. He went abroad. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to fight you. You want to have sex? Good. If something happens, I won't have a baby. As for the psycho, who was the Ukrainian guy that they paid abroad, that guy was bumped off. The same guy who was intended to kill me, and he is Ukrainian, and he had already killed 2 Polish people and spent 20 years in federal prison in Poland, and an Iraqi, had been in London. He had already attempted suicide, literally, 25 times. In front of mentally retarded Greenwich Mean Time, Stupid Times University, the one I attended since the age of 15 with Martin Snowden. Then he suicided in front of me. I couldn't take it. I got limits. And I was after 4 years, 5 years of tracking to Moscow and the East Coast and London and other countries. No money out of Fresno. In any case, and the good part is this, when I went to Europe after 3-4 years, what did they do? They invested. They made investments. International age. I don't know, I think they were Asian, they were Kazakhstanis most likely. They got things. I can't touch money, but I have at least, if I count, probably 500,000. You know why? Because they think you're cheap shit. I'm not going to be able to touch my money. The lawyer blocked it. But I'm 50 years old, 51 years old now. That's 10 years out of Fresno. You will not get anything, Fresno. You're federal prisoners. You're federal prisoners from LA here in San Francisco. It shows not even high school. But the problem is you think that if you come near the president's kids in high school, if you come near as federal prisoners and you keep me there, you're not going to make it happen. They're going to put you back to federal prison. You're going to lose everything in this country. Oh, every respect. You already lost on the coastlines. Your CIA is still paying, or the Blum has, still paying for all the losses on the coastlines, picking on me because the verbal vitriol coming out of Fresno, the verbal vitriol. You're not even agents. You're not even, you could be agents, but you're not the ones on the coastlines and the sciences, and you're obviously not what you claim you are in Fresno for the father and the mother with the hanging benches. You're just animals. They predicted this long ago. They even predicted that they were going to lose the share on the coastlines, which to us from China, you could see it coming, is very strange. It tells me that in the US, there's something wrong. And instead of looking at it that way, you send your fucking cycles. You're not a country. You're sick. Now I know. I mean, even if I was broken up on a wheelchair, drooling up, just, get out of there immediately. No, you're just sick. And quite frankly, you're assholes. And so this is coming out of the masses. Masses in London, masses in Rome, masses in Warsaw Internationals, masses in Russia, and masses in Cairo and Saudi Arabia. You want to speak about the East Coast doing the scrambled egg back and forth with me? For 20 years or so on retirement. You're not worth, and more, you're not worth the light of day. You're not worth Disneyland telling you this to your face. And the fact that you tried to erase such intel, knowing that she'd come back, Graph City, that there was that possibility with all of lines and runnings and what she had in her head, and defending the barons, which was flies and runnings. And even now, I'm like background noise. I'm like the radio. The radio was invented like 200 years ago. Particular combination. From tragedy to comedy with this girl. So obviously this is called Glenfell. What are your pretenses for the coastlines if you didn't do it yourselves? That's what they're saying. That's what's already famous. It's known. But no, darling, what are your pretenses? You want to hurt baby a little more to make yourself feel better in the US? Look at what everyone is famous for on this planet. Look what you lost with the ship to yacht, with the bridges, and you will know who the fuck you are as a country. And you will know why they want us out. The father, the mother from Fresno retirements, and me. Because there's no losses to stay in Rome for retirements by now, is there? US. That's what Laura Quintus and Ali Direct are saying the same. Amy Quintus is saying to me, you have to be a bully. I'm looking at her as, okay, bully in what way? What am I going to do? Take out a... So this is how you don't understand what those T-shirts are in those various states and in the various countries. On micro symmetrical, as I said, keep to intel. You know, don't make too much noise. Don't make too much noise. I got the whole fucking world up my ass. I have cats, birds, bees, insects going around in circles. A fucking zoo, Carlo Bertone. I got culo di voi. Micro that many times. I can go to the agencies. I did connected those who was to Globals to myself. You know, my own shit. They had to know what the fuck was happening. Maybe I had to introduce the blues. But what are you going to say to the people in the US? Hey, the girl, the phenomena of July 2021 had her head smashed in. I'm a replacement jam, 221. And there's some blues out there who are uberman. How'd that happen? The concept of death, taking children. What are these blues that were taken into adoption agencies? That's old news on the news, that little alley. Ubermensch are alleyways nowadays? CIA? Is that what is known in those 80 countries? Should I add 81 for the US? Like animals. You want muscle from Brussels with the brain, or just muscle with brain? And then you're going to come to the Disneyland and say, you're not capable of anything. You're just a little baby. Yeah, I don't have pretenses. That shit was already lost. The bridges were already shot. The girl already had her head smashed in on those lines. But you have pretenses. It's not a question that you're stupid. You're bad. I don't care if you're white, girls who don't understand this. That concept. I don't care if you are Jews. And I don't care if you're chulas. I don't care what you are. If you don't have enough brains to rub together, and why they're still speaking about that girl, you are what you are. You say that I'm a trained poodle in the house. I'll bless your mother. What we saw come out of Fresno, and the amount of times intelligence communities sent, not only from Saudi Arabia and Arabia, Russia, those internationals, London, Rome, and the hanging benches. George O'Connor, poor guy, wasn't my husband. I was too busy flying and running. And now what? Cruelis. You know, he has 4 houses in New England. Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and what was the other one? Vermont. He has a small place in Vermont. And he followed everywhere. You see, because he was born in Fresno and he sells angels, he's afraid of Tom and Jerry Diary Tales. It's not help. You're not helping. In your fabricated minds, you think you're normal guys in Fresno, but you're federal prisoners. You're shitting on your pants just by the local Tom and Jerry Diary Tales who put you to county jail and then to federal prison in LA. I'm not going to fight any of you. They're going to remove you quietly, and if you hire a killer abroad, just kill it. One day, when you realize that you are not the best in space technology, that there's Chinese, that there's Russians, that there are big-ass groups out there shipped to yacht, they've already gone. Your proverbial Vatican void of July 2221, Delft, Holland, that famous one, it's already dead on your coastlines. What are your pretentious little shitholes doing to this one? Showing your feminine to a genetic freak in a UN school? Vanessa with the ET fingers and Kirkland and all the weird legs? That's all news on the news, the nails. You're pathetic. No amount of education teaches people how to be either decent or use their brains. Check, you know as well, huh? You know, big stuff. But why this happens in the world and why that happens in the world and... Yeah, man. A vegetable like me can say that to them by now. Yeah, it is. Anyway, so, happy New Year. 2026 soon. And for the people out there who still haven't understood that we want to stay involved for retirement and that there's far more chances and opportunities to stay in Rome for retirement, and you quit having your fun because you will lose. And it's difficult for me to make friends here because even if I have a social background, in the world here. And within, I also had antisocial parts growing up after what happened on the coastlines with our teeth and the blood hairs in the basements in the UN as a child, the falling, the big heads, connected dots with West Globals. Why they brought me back in this format or formats, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder why I exist, because it's almost like saying you lost intel, big intel on the coastlines, and you can't admit it. It was in Israel. It's not the Iranian library. That's the Israeli library for me. You call it the Iranian library. In Rome, even in the hospital, in front, there's a mausoleum of a female. To the right is the main hospital. There's two giant, like, the largest palms above on the sides of the entrance, the main hospital in St. Peter's, and there's cacti on the grounds. That's all things on the news, Samson Morrison, the cacti. The bacterials, the fats, the biological enhancements of cementation for the PhD, which is not even my subject because I'm not a geneticist. I did that in 3 days. Anyway, let's not speak about that. You just wasted time. A waste of fucking time. And your men are a waste of fucking time. And your women are a waste of fucking time. When I was in college, they gave me jobs. Then I had to grade students when I was 16, 17 as part-time jobs for all the different professors or admissions. At the beginning of the Asswipe number, when I was a crab, and I used to think the crab was the original girl. She wasn't. At crab, which is now. What they did was with the social security number is that they showed that I was very like, you know, like the Elena Muhina of Intel. I was like that. You know, this is not her, yeah? So at the beginning, I didn't pass the students. I was very strict. Because Woolwich, Oxford, Cambridge, you're not going to give them straight A's for nothing. Eventually, I started passing them all. So the other professors would take, would take the paperwork and then just throw it in the dustbin in London or in Rome or whatever. I said, that's not you. You know, you're being too soft with these guys. And I was like, whatever. You know, there's this person, there's stupid, and then there's mentally retarded, and then there's bad, and then there's evil, and then there's, you know, and there's criminal, and then there's dumb fuck criminal, and then there's this thick shit, and when there's a hole in the wall, how the fuck is that? And so forth. You're not looking at anything, everything's easy for you. Bum. You see what you get. You see a baby, you judge the book by its cover. See a baby? It's Delph. Well, why is she a baby? Why is she not her original self? What is this face? What is this Facebook? What is this? What is this tripod stand in? What is this Indios? What is this ballerina? What is this? You haven't started thinking of what the intel is. You don't understand the wormhole to the worm and the UN in Rome and around the world of the original girl. You don't understand anything. You see me, and the first thing you do is, oh, bitches, I'll kill you. I have a hole, Fresno Frisco. Shit happened on the coastline, shit's empty. Do it yourself, fucking hole. I thought you're a patriot and a genius. Relics. Fucking retard. That's not even mentioning the barons in Fresno, the many flyings and runnings of that girl. That's mountains. Beyond the library. That's other locations in DC, the mountains. There's hills, above and behinds. That's the runnings, 85, 85. The ages, 92, 92, and above 85, 85. And now what? On my rollers. Huh? There are retirements in Fresno. So that's what they're showing. You don't understand jobs. You don't understand Laura Quintus. You don't understand Nali Direct. Both Supreme Courts defending both parents. You understand nothing. And you still be going, I'll give you a J-Lo. I gotta remove my teeth in front of you. There. They're not my teeth in here. There. Look at her mustache. Give me injections to make this stronger. There. How goes this? Get this. Ay, Alfonso. Hola. Gracias. So, you see, you don't understand what this is about. You don't see the repercussions of what happened on the coastlines. You don't see anything. You don't see why they're upset about Fresno. You don't see it in the middle of the desert of California. And they're blaming the U.S. They're saying, U.S., what are you, a fucking joke or something? You could have easily gone to Fresno and finished with it. This is what they're showing with the Skokland film at the age of 7 or 8 when I was a child. I was in that film. To stay in Rome on retirements, Man on Fire. The vitriol that came out of you, just closer to the end of the number when I was softer, rather than crab, but crabby. I already had connected the dots for Wise to Globals in all those countries, before and during retirement. And for the parents, you have no idea. You have no idea the agencies I went to for the parents. Whether it was in Rome or Western Europe or in London, was internationals, Arabians, Russia, you don't know. Your brains don't understand how it works. The East Coast, not only George O'Connor. You don't understand this, and you don't understand how many times. So when somebody comes as a particular corn cob replacement, have the decency to tell me, oh, look at me, look at me. It's not a question of jealousy and envy, even if it is. If it is, then you're just not normal people. You're just bitches. And they said that. You broke that shit, motherfucker. You had your head smashed in and that shit's empty because of you at La Sapienza, at Massachusetts, and NASA, this. The pink shit is the cancer. These are the guys, these are the professors, are the CEOs in the UN and in London at the age of 15. These guys have white hairs with you. These are the actual professors in the basement. And the others, that's old news on the news and nails. So why they bring your fucking sorry ass back? Because you will leave the shit. Boom, boom. And now instead, that's what the merry-go-round of the 21st century. You don't deserve shit. That's the old news on the boy, you big ship the yard and you have pretenses. Your enemies, would, your friends, no enemy, your enemy, everyone will go against you against that. In other words, you did Falun Gong on the ghost lines on the original Jamala and you're still fucking speaking about it because, look at the parents, look at those guys who were with her, look at the shit that happened that was lost on the ghost lines with the British shut up. That's old news on the news, Maria Angeli and the others. Not even Maria Angeli. I don't have pretenses. When I grow up at the age of 5, I see La Sapienza that's empty with Tiziano Via and Dude, the street Anne. Tiziana Ulian doing a PhD during the first master's. And London, so she was sitting there, looking at me sitting there. You know what I'm saying? People look at this shit for what you are. They see you for what you are. America will lose intel if you have such stupid people. America will lose intel. And if you're happy that you lost that intel and you think you're patriots, then I can tell you you're retarded. And when they say to you, you could have bombed Fresno, excuse me, politically correct, space bomb with the Havana 696969 around the states and around the capital cities around the world that many times on micros, then go talk to the masses. Because I was trying to keep it professional, wasn't I? I knew about the people. I even knew about the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods, but I didn't know how badly. When I went to the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods in Cairo and Moscow for 3 months, there were people coming out. They were drinking vodkas and she's dead. She came back. People would come out. She's alive. She's alive. I thought she had her head smashed. Shit, that girl was a phenomenon. And Cairo the same, in Rome and London. What am I going to say? What are the pretense? I'm not really that girl. No. I'm not that girl. I'm a replacement. Tripod. Disneyland. Hello. I'm not taking a over. You are animals. Then I'm telling you that there's something behind that girl. That's another fucking miracle. That's something else for the bears. People are having 2 heart attacks, 2 strokes, and 2 aneurysms. I finally said it. Rather than going into, send for the hospital, send for the nursing home, send for this, send for that, send for this, send for that, against Fresno's. Intelligent. Then you send the cycles for the child, and you wonder why there's a fucking Skokland film. Are you ass? This is not a question of patriotism. This is a question of assholes. I'm sorry. Sorry. And I'm not the one saying it. And I'm including the bitches on that one. I'm sorry. Bye-bye. With the power. You know what? A dumbass is a dumbass. To be that dumbass that even got this, they not fucking know their shit around the capital cities, and you're still sitting there saying you're the best. Where? On the coastlines? With a beautiful spaceship? Do you have parents like mine? D1s? Born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities, also TCY USA? I will tell you what I knew when I was 5 years old. And that's the old news on the news. If you can even call it news. If it's even qualified as news. I'll tell you to your face. Why? You hate me. And we'll make it obvious around the world that many times. And then you're going to be sitting there with President Frisco and say, ah! Okay. And have your world war. Bomb who you want. I now know why they don't like the Jews. Nobody really liked the Jews in the history of the Jewish tribes. Not for 5,000 years. What happened in the last 80 years? Go celebre. The chosen people for 80 years out of 6,000 years of existence, all of a sudden hated beyond compare, the Jewish people, and now all of a sudden for the last 80 years they're the chosen people? Massive. What a change. What a history. Is that why many of them are Jewish? Is that it? A white, not even trash. White girls from college coming up saying, you're a traitor. I'm the traitor. Then why don't you reopen that Shanagos lines, mademoiselle? You don't have parents like mine, mademoiselle. You're gonna have wars start for less than that shit. And you know what? That was really stupid. No wonder there's should I say, give them the headache shit t-shirt? Or should I just say the big one? So have your fun. You made a comment out of me anyway by now. I'm sorry I had enough of your stupidity. Bye-bye.